What's up, motorists? Today we are looking at something a little larger than usual, which is funny because this is a Mini. In particular, this is the all-new MINI Countryman C. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of all our future uploads. So to start this car off, I'm going to first talk about the power unit of this car. Now, in the Countryman C, this is actually a 1.5 litre turbocharged 3-cylinder engine that produces 121 horsepower and 230 Newton meters of torque. That's right, this is a Cat A COE friendly car, which means it's more affordable, relatively, compared to some of its bigger siblings in the Mini lineup. Now, we move on to the car is hot, spicy. Now we move on to the rest of the front fascia of the Countryman C. You can see that it is hot, you can see. Now, you can see that this has a more digital, modern look to the front end. You can see the 2D version of the Mini logo with the wings, and of course the daytime running lights in this kind of ovally look around the main headlight cluster itself. Now, this is really more of a large than it is a Mini. Now, Mini even calls this the most grown-up Mini yet. That's because this is 13 cm longer than the predecessor and 8 cm taller than the previous Countryman as well. Now, that might seem to go against the entire name of the brand, Mini, but of course what that means is you get more space on the inside for your friends, your family, your dogs, and cargo. Now, you also get, of course, 18-inch rims as standard on the Countryman C trim. You get keyless entry, which is always very nice. And check out this paintwork. This is British Racing Green 4. I don't know what happened to the first three, but I like number 4. And in classic Mini fashion, of course, you also get these Union Jack style motifs all around the car. Now here at the back of the Countryman, you can see, of course, first up, the digital style rear LED tail lamps, the same 2D style logo that we see on the front of the car, the Countryman wording on the back, because of course this is the grown-up Mini. This is the practical Mini, and that means you get a practical boot, electric tailgate that whirs open at the press of a button, and you get a nice big boot, 505 litres in its standard configuration like it is now, and up to 1,460 litres with the rear seats folded flat. Plenty of space for you to put a dog or two, or even your bags for a nice weekend trip up north. So here we are now in the back seats of the Countryman C, and remember how I said this is the most grown-up Mini ever? Well, that's because, unlike in many other Minis, here in the Countryman I have plenty of legroom, I've got lots of headroom, and there's a nice comfy bench for me to sit on. Now, the materials used in the Countryman C, as in many of the new generation of Minis, are a combination of vegan leather and fabrics. So we'll get into that a bit more when we jump into the front seats, but here you can see the vegan leather upholstery with some fabric accents on the side and on the door cards and places like that. Now, in terms of amenities, we do get 2 aircon vents for the rear passengers, as well as 2 Type-C USB charging ports for the rear passengers as well. We also have ISOFIX anchor points on both sides, so you can put 1 or 2 child seats depending on where you want them. And of course, everybody's favorite, the center armrest with cup holders. Now, one of the neat features here in the Countryman C is that you can actually, unlike in many other 2-row cars, move the seats forward and back. Now, this of course opens up a lot more flexibility for you in how you want to manage your space. For example, let's say you have a child seat here, you don't need the legroom, you can move the seat all the way forward to give yourself more space in the boot for things like a pram or other baby items. So here we are now in the front seats of this Countryman C. Now, this may be a new look to you for those who are new to this new generation of Minis, and let me run you through it. So like I mentioned back there, we have a mixture of vegan leather, so like the stuff on the seats, as well as fabrics. Now, fabric coats this center storage unit, it coats the dashboard, it's on the door cards, and of course it's still on the accents around the seats. Now, the usage of fabrics and stuff in the design language might be unusual to some people, but it is, I would say, on brand for Mini. It plays into the character of the car and of the brand. Mini has always been a more whimsical, eccentric brand in the way they do things. And of course, one of the biggest examples of that is this, the central infotainment display, which is a circle. Now, on previous generations of Mini, This used to be an analog cluster, and then it was a half screen where the surround was circle, but the screen was just still a rectangle in the middle. But on the new generation of minis, especially this one running Mini OS 9, this is now fully made use of, which means the screen actually fills up the corners of the circle, so it's no longer a kind of half put together attempt. This is now a fully proper custom circular display, and the only one available in the car industry. Now, through this circular display, you can of course adjust all of your car's functions. For example, your 360-degree camera, your wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, as well as your navigation, media controls, and what have you. Now, the other thing in this new generation of minis is you have an AI assistant called Spike, and he's a dog. He's very cute. Seeing as this is one of the most connected minis ever, and of course this ever-connected generation of cars, you have also the Mini app that you can download on your phone. Now with that app, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. So if this was an EV, for example, you can check your charging status and your battery level, but it's not an EV, but you can still remote start your car, you can activate the ventilation before you get into the car, which is very, very useful on a hot day like today. And of course, if you lose your car in Suntec City car park, you can play the horn to help you find it again. Now, elsewhere in the interior of the Countryman, we also have a lot of other nice touches and premium features. For example, the heads-up display offered as standard. We have the classic mini airplane-style toggle switches for things like your drive modes, your engine start-stop, and which gear you're in. Then you have a wireless charging pad, USB Type-C charging ports, cup holders, you name it. All that's left to do now is see how the car drives. So here we are driving the Countryman C. And first off, suspension is a treat to work with. It is not especially bouncy, which you might sometimes get in other mini models. But in this, it is pliant, it's well damped, and it is a comfortable place to be. It soaks up the bumps well, it doesn't translate it into my back. And I could sit here in this seat for long periods of time. Long trip up north, not an issue. Now, the powertrain, while as smooth as the suspension, is not especially quick, but I don't expect much. It is a Cat A friendly car. This will do 0 to 100 in 10.5 seconds, which is nothing much to shout at, but it's decent enough. And with turbocharging giving it healthy amount of torque, it is zippy enough to flit around through traffic in Singapore city streets. Now, the 7-speed DCT transmission also makes light work of changing gears. It doesn't judder, and it's nice and smooth and creamy. And it makes driving this a real easy job. Now, the other big thing, of course, with this car is efficiency, because it is a Cat A friendly car. It is a 3-cylinder engine. And while it might look like a big wall of car, it's a big SUV, Mini says this is actually an aerodynamically friendly design, and it shows in the fuel efficiency as well. This has a claimed 14.7 kilometers per liter of fuel mileage. In my driving, I've averaged out at about 11 plus to 12, and I don't have the lightest foot, so take my driving with a pinch of salt. You should be able to get a better result on your own. Now, the other thing, of course, that helps with efficiency is weight. And this car, by today's car industry standards, is a featherweight. This weighs in at a smidge under 1.5 tons, which is light in today's world. I'm surprised at how light the car is. Now, it is unladen weight, of course, but still, I am surprised with how light this car is, considering there's so many others with unladen weights of 1.92 tons, 2.1 tons, 1.5 tons. It's basically a mosquito. Now, having that essence and element of fun and of life distilled into their cars is one of the things I think Mini does very well. Even in this, which is essentially a everyday runabout SUV. But because of what Mini has done to it, it feels like more than that. It doesn't feel like you're running around in something ordinary. You look at the front of the steering wheel, you've got the Mini badge looking at you, you've got the unique interior, you've got the circular screen, and of course, if I wanted to, I have my different driving experiences. So Mini driving experiences, if you're new to this, it's basically different modes you can toggle through that give you, well, different flavors of how you want your Mini to be. So there's go-kart, which is of course the sports mode, and it plays into the go-kart handling characteristics of many Mini cars. And then you have things like Timeless, where it brings up a old school analog style speedo and rev counter and whatnot that gives it just a little bit of extra spice and a little bit of extra joy in your everyday drive. And that's what I've always believed people buy a Mini for. It's to have that little extra bit of color in your life. It's to have a car you are happy to own, Not just happy to be ferried around from place to place in, any old car can get you from A to B, but how many cars can give you that smiles per mile factor as much as a Mini does? So if you think you're of the more fashionable sort, you like a bit of whimsy and eccentricism in your life, and you like what Mini stands for as a brand, you like the whimsical nature of it, you like that it doesn't really follow the norms that other brands do, you want to stand out a bit, and of course you still want something that's well equipped and drives well and is fuel efficient to boot, then perhaps this, the Countryman C, is the choice for you. Thank you very much for watching this episode of mReview. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.